All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The number one rushing team from a season ago just picked up arguably the best running back of this era as the Baltimore Ravens and running back Derrick Henry just agreed on a 2-year deal for 16 million. The Ravens have had one of the best ground attacks in the NFL for the past few seasons, and that trend should continue with the arrival of Henry. Henry has 9,502 career rushing yards, which are 36th all time in NFL history. And it's also good enough for second place on the Tennessee Titans slash Houston Oilers franchise history. Only the great Eddie George is above Henry, and he was the only back in Titans slash Oilers franchise history to gain 10,000 yards in that for that organization. But you look at Derrick Henry, and of course, the question is going to be, what does he bring to Baltimore? And I say this because the writing was on the wall that his time in Nashville was coming to an end. Mike Vrabel was not retained as the head coach. A lot of shakeup has been going there on there in recent about the last year or so in both the front office and from the coaching standpoint. And you look at Derrick Henry; he's 30 years of age now. Okay, and you have a running back who has some miles on him. Okay, you're talking about a guy who has more than 2,000 rushing attempts. He's led the NFL in rushing attempts in 4 out of the last 5 years. 303 attempts in 2019, 378 attempts in 2020, 349 in 2022, and then 280 more this past season. You know, Derrick Henry is a workhorse at the running back position. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you're talking about a guy that will be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. His bruising style, and he, for a big guy, he has a lot of speed with that. And for what it's worth, it doesn't look like he's lost that much of a step. But what you have to do with Derrick Henry, you have to slow him down before he gets started. Because if he gets started, you know what? Just get out of the way because he is indeed a runaway freight train. So again, like I said, how much more does he have left in the tank? That's going to be the $1 million question. 30 years of age, the amount of carries that he has, they're 42nd all time. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But he leaves a great legacy in Nashville for the Titans. And when you think about the Titans, of course, they were one of the original AFL franchises as the Houston Oilers. You would think about passing. No, this Titans team, this Oilers franchise, it's been about the running backs. You think about it: Earl Campbell, Eddie George, Chris Johnson, and now, of course, Derrick Henry. And I mean, he was a bruising, physical back, and still is. To a throwback from another era in the National Football League. And I think his legacy there is cemented. You think back to when the Titans had that run in 2019 when they got to the AFC Championship game. A lot of that was predicated on the running ability of Derrick Henry. Let's keep it real here. Ryan Tannehill, the Titans' former quarterback, he got a big contract based off of, his ability to, throw off the play action due to the fact that Henry was setting him up. And, his ability to run the football with the way that Titans team was constructed. They were a physical team. They ran the football. They played good D, and they were consistently in playoff contention. So I think when it's all said and done, Derrick Henry will be remembered as one of the greatest players to ever play for that organization. Now, looking ahead to 2024, we're going to be talking about a Ravens backfield with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And you think about Lamar Jackson's elusiveness at the quarterback and then what Derrick Henry brings. I think what's going to have to happen, there's going to have to be more semblance of order. I think uh Derrick Henry's going to have to run the football a little bit more than Lamar Jackson. And the reason why I say that, Lamar Jackson has led the Ravens in rushing in each of the last 5 years. And no disrespect to his dynamic ability, but you don't want your quarterback leading in that category so much. The Ravens, they like I said, they've been one of the better running teams in the NFL. That trend is going to continue. They clearly let Gus Edwards go as he signed with the Chargers, and now they're bringing in Derrick Henry. So the free agency carousel continues, and it's going to be interesting to see where this addition puts the Baltimore Ravens. We've been seeing a lot of moving and shaking around the National Football League so far at the beginning of free agency. And of course, the race is on to try to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs to the two-time defending champs. Now, the Ravens just got to the AFC Championship game back in January. Clearly, their team is going to be a lot different from last year's team. They lost their defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, who's now the head coach in Seattle. Patrick Queen, one of their running linebackers, excuse me, is now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you still got Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Going back to their time, when they were about to leave Cleveland and coming into Baltimore, of course, with former GM Ozzie Newsome, they've done a pretty good job of drafting and developing their talent. So I think the Ravens are once again going to be in the mix. Just keeping a guy like Derrick Henry healthy, just keeping a guy like Lamar Jackson healthy, I guarantee you this Ravens offense will once again be very exciting in 2024. So if you're the Ravens, you have to be happy with the addition of Derrick Henry. And if you're Derrick Henry, you definitely have to be happy to be going to Baltimore. One thing for sure, we know about the physicality in the AFC North between the Steelers, between the Ravens, the Browns, and the Cincinnati Bengals. And I guarantee you that trend is going to continue. So those other three teams in that division, they're going to have to buckle up their chin straps and try to slow down King Kong Henry twice a year. Easier said than done. But you know what? Like I said, he's a runaway freight train. And when he gets going, just get out of his way. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sport Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.